for my sharing. And again, I'd like to welcome you all to the 2021 annual meeting of the African Great Lakes Stakeholder Network. As Kevin mentioned, it is our third annual meeting. We did start our annual meetings in 2019. That was our only in-person meeting, and then COVID hit, and so we've been having virtual meetings. The entire intent of our organization is to get people together with the hopes of it always being in person. And so we once again meet virtually, and hopefully in the next year or two, hopefully this next year we'll be back together. Sorry, I'm having some issues here. So I'm welcoming you from Acare, as well as their partner organization, the International Institute for Sustainable Development, who we partnered with in this last year. IISD, located in Canada, is also the facilitator administrators of the experimental lakes area, 58 experimental lakes in Ontario. And through this partnership, we are strengthening science together to improve the health of the African Great Lakes. But of course, it's not the North American organizations that are doing this. This is through many, many partners throughout Africa, Europe, and North America. The vision and mission of Acare, of the African Center for Aquatic Research and Education, is fairly simple. It's the vision is a world where millions of Africans can depend on these natural resources for food, clean water, reliable employment, and to support a climate of justice, of equity, democracy, and peace through these healthy resources. To achieve this vision, our mission is to create highly collaborative systems that strengthen science to positively affect policy and management for the health of these Great Lakes. We do this not from a North American perspective, but rather through a carefully crafted board of directors, Africans, North Americans, and Europeans, and eventually others globally, to help guide and drive us in our mission and vision to achieve that vision. We also have an Acare staff, both of paid and volunteers. Again, these are a global cohort from Africa, Europe, and North America. You see a pattern here. Acare has three general ways to approach strengthening science on the African Great Lakes with our partners. And the first one is programs. Programs are long-term activities and processes that we run or are developing to achieve our overall mission and goal. These programs are trying to get away from short-term approaches to solving issues. Short-term and disparate approaches often don't lead to good policy and management. It doesn't create long-term information that we can use. And if it does so, there's usually not comparable. So we're trying to change that by creating long-term processes. But we also understand that to do this, we also have to have projects, short-term activities with partners, many of whom are here, that are in line with our overall goals and our programs. And then, of course, administration, which we don't really need to talk about, but those are our everyday activities and actions to support and administer the programs and projects. The programs of Acare, which you'll be experiencing and hearing about today and tomorrow, are not new, are not ones that we've created. Most likely everyone on this meeting know what the issues are affecting the African Great Lakes that are affecting most large freshwater resources globally. And so what we've done is that we've just cultivated those, discussed them with our partners through globally and especially in Africa to determine what we can and need to approach and how to do so. So today on day one, what you're going to be seeing and witnessing is our advisory groups. This is our main program. This is the efforts that we've been doing since the beginning to get experts from each of the African Great Lakes together to strengthen science and strengthen information exchange. And you'll be hearing more about that. Our second and really successful program is our African Women in Science program. And you'll see more of that on day 2, and I won't give too much away of that program since Dr. Kaya will be giving a presentation, but it's really to break down barriers for women entering science. Now, there are 3 other areas, aquaculture, climate change, and biodiversity, that I think everyone here is aware are very large issues and emerging issues that underlie everything that we do on the African Great Lakes. We won't be talking specifically about these, but you'll hear that thread throughout the program. And then our other programs, monitoring, education and training, and information, also underline. You'll be hearing a little bit about these programs throughout, and I'll describe them here just very briefly as before we begin. But again, our advisory groups, the purpose of these is to strengthen science on each of the African Great Lakes by enhancing information flow between members of these multi-jurisdictional bodies of water. These meetings, especially in-person meetings, can increase trust. They strengthen the community and the networks, and then through these processes of collaboration, identify priority research and issues, and then we as a community can funnel financial and research resources to address those research projects and those programs. In 2021, we had a very successful program led by Zeph McGinney, who I'll introduce soon. And we've had virtual meetings every month with each of these advisory groups. Each of these advisory groups, which you saw on the agenda, include each of these 7 African Great Lakes, with Lakes Edward and Albert being one, since those 2 systems are so closely connected. The other activity that we did with these groups is we wrote papers for each of the African Great Lakes for the Journal of Great Lakes Research. These are in final review or being submitted. And these really give a background of the lakes, try and do a scan and give past research overview and critical future needs, which you'll be hearing about today. Again, the African Women in Science program, which we call AWIS, really is meant to break down historical, cultural, social, and other barriers for women that prevent women from contributing to obtaining education in scientific positions and leadership positions. We've had a successful 2021 program, which I won't give away due to our great speaker on tomorrow. Our monitoring program, which is still being crafted and developed, is just to ensure that we have continuous long-term information that we can use to more fully craft and develop management and policies. It's difficult to craft those when you don't have full information and you're just working with small bits. And therefore, when this program, this long-term program, if we can get this going, we can enhance information on these lakes long-term and have good data sets and good information. Education and training, I think, spans the globe. We need to train the next generation of experts to handle the issues that are upcoming and current. And we're working on creating programs and projects to do such. And then information, which of course is one of the biggest issues we find talking with all of our partners, is how do you get more information between people? How do you find that information? And how do you get people together? And through our information program, we're trying to ensure that our websites are available and useful with the appropriate information on there for everyone, including scientists, researchers, decision makers, and of course the public. We're working with our own website, our partners' websites, including IISD, and then one that was developed in 2017 through the Nature Conservancy called the African Great Lakes Information Platform, which Acare and the University of Nairobi are still developing, further developing. And then information curation is just finding all of the information that's out there. And we speak, of course, to some of the older information that might not be published or electronic, as well as that exists today. That includes everything from publications to data. And then African Great Lakes conferences. Meetings are great. Meetings with smaller groups to ensure that we strengthen science is wonderful, but getting the global community together, such as today, and much larger conferences, such as the one in 2017 by the Nature Conservancy is a highlight as well as the Great Lakes of the World conferences, which many of you may have heard. That's administered by the Aquatic Ecosystem Health and Management Society. All of these need to come together and at least every 3 to 5 years, bring world experts together to address these programs and these problems together. So again, as we begin our annual meeting, and I cede my time over to the real experts, the real people who are going to be actually actively giving information and exchanging information between each other and amongst us all. Our overall meeting objectives is to ensure that that information is exchanged among our advisory group members specifically, but also the global freshwater experts and community, all of you here today. We'll be doing most of that today. And then on day 2, we'll be looking at successful models and strategies, and some that maybe aren't that successful on large lakes management, and to see how we can replicate that on the African Great Lakes if it's appropriate to do so. And then to further identify collaboration opportunities for future work on the African Great Lakes. And we hope to do that not only through this meeting, but afterwards through cultivating more relationships. As we go through today and the rest of the meeting, some of the meeting questions, some of the ideas that you should pay attention to and kind of keep in the back of your mind are what needs to be done to ensure scientists continue to learn from each other in more impactful ways, and what worked well from your observations. So as you are in this meeting today and interacting with experts globally, observe what has been working well, what could be done better, and then hopefully we will have more informed discussions on day 2 and day 3.